But it's saying that half the battle in life is figuring out who you are and what you want to do for the rest of your life. So that hit me very hard, because that got me questioning. It really got me questioning, like who am I? Who am I? I like to think that I know myself to a certain degree, but the truth is, when I really found myself asking myself that question, I found myself thinking to myself, because I do have dreams and I do have goals. I have things that I want to accomplish, and sometimes they are not clear. It's like I just know that there are things, but the truth is I don't know what those things are. Because you can wake up every morning, go to work, come home, build a family, live quietly, and still have a very deeply fulfilled life. Most people want this, but I think we live in a generation that believes that stability is not enough, and they will call that average. Some people will say that social media is the reason why we chase unrealistic expectation, unrealistic standard. And I think in a way that's why I keep asking myself those questions, right? As to who am I really? Like the things that I want, the things that I pursue, am I authentic? Who am I? Am I getting lost in life or trying to live? Am I truly living? Am I truly living? So half of the battle in life is figuring out who you are. Figuring out who you are, what you stand for, how you speak, and speak the way that you speak. Just be real. But in a way, I know that we are all influences, and we are a combination of emotions and people and the things that we have experienced in life. But it's still important that we figure out who we are. Because if you don't figure out who you are, then you will never be able to truly know or to truly find out what you want to do for the rest of your life. You will be aware. You'll be conscious of a void. There will be an emptiness inside of you that you feel. And I think that's the thing that most times we don't talk about. We live in a society that encourages us to chase unrealistic standards, to chase materialistic things, to chase money. You're expected to have specific things in life at specific timeline. Otherwise, you're behind in life, right? Otherwise, you're average at best. Almost as if extraordinary life is defined by how many businesses you have, by being an athlete, professional athlete, by being a celebrity, by having different accolades and achievements that people can see. But not having any of that doesn't mean you're average, because that's not what average is about. Average is not about you, having a 9 to 5, living a simple life, going to work, coming back, and just living a quiet life. And I don't think there's anything wrong with that life. And I wouldn't even call that life average life. I would just call it life. There's nothing wrong if you want a quiet life with your routine. There's nothing wrong with a simple life. The problem is not a stable life. The problem is when you stop challenging yourself within that life. Because somewhere along the line, then your drive, your hunger, your courage, gets replaced by the comfort because of the stable life, where you no longer, you stop trying new things. You stop trying things that you suck at. You only choose options or go for things that will definitely work out. You no longer extend yourself or push yourself. Then, you start losing yourself, where now you start resenting the life that you used to pray for. The family that you once prayed for. See, you used to have these dreams. You used to have all these things that you wanted to do, and you were working towards it. But as things started looking up, and you find yourself in a place where maybe because you go in a relationship for whatever reason, you just let go of who you were. The person, the hunger, the person that you used to be, right? Then it's like that full circle where you start resenting that life, and slowly, you find yourself in a place where things start to feel the same. The same thing every single day. And then days go by, weeks go by, months go by, years go by. And then one day you wake up and you realize one scary truth. You realize that you never took any real risk. You realize that you got too comfortable with the routine, that you never stepped outside of the routine. You never asked more of yourself. Now that is what average is. As long as you have strength in your legs, everything is possible. It really is true that half of the battle in life is figuring out who you are, because sometimes we put things to the side and we don't want to put ourselves out there. It's not because we're afraid to fail. It's really because we don't want other people to witness us fail. We don't want other people to witness us make mistakes. But I think But I think at the end of the day, and I guess that's why I keep asking myself, like, how worried am I about other people, right? How worried am I? And trying to break those things, really trying to, I'm really trying to come to a place where I am like, I can be really, really authentic in myself. But the truth is, one thing that I notice that affect that, one thing that I notice that affect that is when I consume other things that are outside of myself. And I notice that I am the most authentic version of myself when I don't consume any content, when I don't consume things. Because the truth is sometimes, I have to be conscious of these things, right? Because I do see sometimes how they start creeping in, and then you find yourself wanting to do something a different way than who you are, and it got me thinking, right? And I remember meeting this man, I think it was sometime last year, and he's a preacher. First time I met him, he told me something that I had to keep bringing to my own remembrance, and that was, don't build on any other person's template. Build on your own template. Back then, I didn't even realize what he was talking about, but as time goes on now, like that word come to my remembrance, and I have to keep going back to that word. Like, do not build on any other person's template. You can be inspired by other people, and different, and that word can mean different things for you. I mean, sometimes I interpret it a different way, and in different situations, I interpret that word differently. But don't worry about other people. We all have to focus on our own self. Do not focus on other people. Like, if you know what it is that you want to do in life, if you want to create, if you want to put yourself out there, if you want to post that video, do it. Do it. Don't be worried. You don't, or at least that's one thing. I think that's one thing that you have to overcome. And do whatever it is that you need to do. And I think that's the thing about happiness and also finding fulfillment in life. Like I said earlier, you can live a simple life and find fulfillment in life, a quiet life, and be very fulfilled with your family. There's nothing wrong with that. But I don't know if I said this earlier. That's not something that can work for me. There are things that I want to do. I have desires, in a way, something that I can only describe as calling, but I don't know what it is. I don't know what it is that I'm actually, I just know it's there. I know it's a pulling. I don't know what it is. But one thing that I have noticed is, I've never really been happy. I've never really been truly happy in life by working hard, because I think we live in a world where we quantify our whole existence by how much we work. And I think it's something that goes back to how much we have been bred and how much we have been conditioned, right? From growing up, you have to work hard, work hard, work hard. We live just to work. 60 hours a week, 80 hours a week. And then you go home and you don't spend time with family. And it's like, I don't believe that I was put here on earth. I don't believe, and I will never agree with that. I don't believe I was put here on earth to work 60 hours a week every day to the moment that I die. And I said this in my past video. I believe it was J.D. Rockefeller, the Rockefeller that says that, because back in the day, he was the one he really founded the education system here. And one of his quotes was, he said, I'm not trying to raise a nation of thinkers. I'm trying to raise a nation of workers. If you work 9 to 5, you get home 9 to 5, let's say you get home at 6. If you're in a place of traffic, or you get home 5:30. It's like, no, but you have like 4 hours to yourself. 4 hours to yourself, and then you have to go to bed. So if you do that from Monday to Friday, you realize that, and time flies. Your time and your attention is the most sacred thing that you have in life. And so most of us, we're here quantifying our whole existence with how much that we work. Only a fool quantifies their whole existence with how much they work. But no true happiness can, at least for me, right? No true happiness have ever been found by working hard. And what I mean by that is making your whole existence about work. True happiness comes from you mastering a craft, mastering something that you truly admire. And so it goes back to you knowing yourself. It goes back to you, living from a place that is inside of yourself, right? Where life begins to flow out from you as to you, like living, or touching life externally. Life is too precious to waste, to waste your time, to waste your years. And most of the things that we pursue in life and our perception of life and the things or our belief, this is how life should be, this is where I should live, all these things come from, it's the same system that want us to be in the system, that want us to, that want to feed off of, that wants to feed off our energy and bring us in a place where we never truly, get to do anything for our own selves, where we never truly, find any purpose in life outside of working or being like a cog in the wheel. I can't imagine giving my best years to other people. Then when it all said and done, those other people will put me to the side. And that's where you find yourself like, wow, I never really took risk. I don't think anybody will ever regret taking risk for themselves. I think it's for you to decide. At least for me, I'm deciding how I want to take the risk for my own self. And why sometimes I don't have the full picture of the things, how I want to take the risk, right? All I can do is, I always say that a person can only give what they have. And so I have to make sure that I acquire so much. And by acquiring, not in the material sense of the things, of course, that's secondary, but acquire, and that's with me pouring into myself and finding out hobbies and finding out finding out things that I really love, finding out things that I really admire. And I know one of the things that I truly admire is making content. And I always, I do think to myself of different ways that I can make the content. But, and that's where, it really do allow me to, it allowed me to learn more about myself. It helps me to know more about myself. And I think if you can just be in a place where where you start embarking on a journey of knowing yourself and finding out who you are, I think that's a good place to start living. And most people spend their life chasing external goals. Right? They get the degree, they get the job, they get the wife, the kids, and they climb the ladder. And when they finally get all these things, right, it's like the feeling won't last. And you start feeling like your life has been a waste. And that's because success in a life you didn't choose will still feel like it's failure. Yeah, you didn't choose the life was chosen. It was chosen for you. And you thought it was you choosing. You were only influenced. Meanwhile, time is working against us. When I was a kid growing up, the year used to feel like forever. But now, a year like that, that's what a year feels like. And it feels like time is moving by faster. And I think that's because we are no longer in time. And what I mean by we are no longer in time is, see, once you start gazing, once you start looking at something outside of yourself, that means you live the present. Like once you live the present, you are no longer in time. And we are told that this right here is a phone, right? Television, that's just a screen. The moment you gaze into that screen, you allow your eyes to become a bridge to different portals. And not just the phone. Once you stop being in the moment, once you stop being in the present, you look at the phone, you're looking through that screen, through your mind, you're looking at another person's life, and you lose sight of your own self and your own existence. You go into a different dimensional form of time and space. And the dimensions that we go into doesn't contain any time. Like when you look into your phone, that's a dimension of pure thought. There is no time. So I might feel like I'm falling behind in life because time is going and there is no clear standard of enough. And so I will try to be productive. But I don't think it's really about being productive, or I don't think it's about productivity. I think when you go deeper, you realize that it's really about mortality. I think sometimes the thing that we try to accomplish is, it's because we want to be remembered. So it's like we're trying to create immortality. So with the accomplishment and stuff, because there is a fear that we have that we will not be remembered. That once we are gone, it will be as if we were never here. It's not about the things that you acquire. It's about the impact and the life that you touch. Some people got everything that they got. It was given to them so that they will go flex on their people. And it's like, look, we're giving you all of this prestige. We're giving you all of this recognition. We're giving you this platform. Don't ever speak. Don't speak about us. The moment that you try to come against us, the moment that you try to speak against us, we will take everything that you have. Go over there. We are above you. Go over there. Go treat your people bad. Go look down on your people. And they will come and they will flex on their people. They will flex on their community. The greatest thing that you and I can do is helping other people. When you're in the realm of feeling, That's where you invoke the sense of time. But when you're in a realm of thinking, say, you do not need time. So when you're scrolling, you're in a dimension of pure thought. So when you're looking, or when you're not in the present, that means you're focused on another person's life. You're in a dimension of thought. You're not wasting time. You're losing time, because time does not exist in that realm of pure thought. So you're moving from the physical, where time exists, to a fifth dimension where there is no time. And this is why I think everyone feels like we are running out of time. And that's because we are running into another dimension by putting our focus into these machines, into things that are outside of ourselves. And we are getting lost in our thoughts. We are getting lost in thinking about other people and being aware of, oh, this is the life that this person is having. Oh, this is what this person is doing. I know I should be doing this. Or I don't want to do this because of those people. And we're in a place of thought. And we don't realize how much we're in a place of thought. And while we are doing that stuff, we are losing time. I don't know if you understand what I'm saying. It's okay if you don't understand what I'm saying. But I don't have any other words. So I don't know any other way to explain what I just explained. Maybe take this back and rewatch that again. And if you disagree, that's fine. You don't have to agree with everything that I said. Now, this is a message to myself and anyone who cares. Take risk. Take the risk of discomfort. Don't trade the discomfort for a life of comfort. Because the thing is, the consequences do not come immediately. The consequences take time, and eventually the consequences come, and you hear a statement like, if only I had tried. And once you hear something like that, once you find yourself in that kind of situation, you can't unhear that. And I know we want things to go our way. Nobody want to look foolish. Nobody want to be made fun of. And because of that, we don't try new things. And when we do try, we give up. We give up because our expectations are not being met in a timely manner. And that's the timeline that we place upon ourselves, or the timeline that, anyhow, this timeline, wherever it comes from. But, pick that hobby. Resurrect that your buried dream and goals. Find yourself again and allow yourself to just allow yourself to find the beautiful things and be beautiful. Speak up at work, in groups, wherever you find yourself. Speak to the stranger at the gym, across the street. Never let the fear of rejection or failure keep you from doing these things. It's easier to protect your self-image than to watch it break. It's easier for me to say, I didn't have time, something came up, maybe later, than for me to say, I tried and I wasn't good enough. And it's not what it protected my identity in the present, even when it cost me in my future. So don't worry about who's looking at you. Don't worry about failing. Like I said earlier, most times we don't want to fail. It's not really because we don't want to fail. It's because we don't want people to see us fail. Because we don't want to feel embarrassed. But that's life. And I don't think those are the people that we should be worried about. Because anybody who is not failing, at least if you're not putting yourself in positions where failure is a possibility, then you're not really trying. Then you're not truly living. And that's how you come to an average life. So thank you guys so much for watching this. I really appreciate you. And I just wanted to help you and talk about that. I'm going to keep making these videos. I really appreciate everybody that support. I never really asked this, but if you're watching this, subscribe if you haven't subscribed, like this video, leave a comment. I'm really trying to just meet new people. And yeah, I hope this video speak to you in your own way. Thank you all, and keep doing the best what you have. Love you.